There we go. All right. So we're headed into the reserve. There we go. All right. So we're going to head in through the little Aturi forest. And a lot of these animals are usually pretty difficult to find because they are so well camouflaged to blend in with their surroundings. But sometimes we get lucky. Now, on your... Wow. Oh, there's an okapi and a yellowback tiger back there. Now, the okapi is the one that kind of looks like a big brown horse with a zebra's back legs. It's not at all related to the zebra. They are very closely related to the giraffe. I believe there is another okapi on the other side of that bamboo fence, which is what he's so very enthralled with. There's a yellowback tiger as well. Now, the yellowback tiger gets its name from the yellow stripe down his back, and the word tiger in Afrikaans actually means diver. So when he gets scared or shy, he dives in the bushes. Now, before I forget, folks, take a look up above your head. Some of you already saw it. It's the animal spotting guide. Now, if you guys have any questions or you see anything before I do, please don't be shy. I'm a big fan of the interactive safari. Scream, yell, point, whatever you want. Any questions you have, I will be happy to answer them for you. So, fire away.
Squirrel!
Really?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, I saw the squirrel. I'm just surprised anybody pointed it out. I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, I'd have been less weirded out if somebody said, oh, look, a vulture. Like, oh, hey, a black rhino. But you saw a squirrel, so I don't need to stop for the black rhino, right? No, there's a black rhino right there. They are the smaller of the two species on the reserve. They're about 3,000 pounds when they're done growing. Pretty rare to find them, though, because there's only like 5,000 black rhino left in the whole world, including that one right there. They are very rare animals. Now, up ahead, I want you to pretend you don't see that truck right there. It's not really there. Nope. Yeah, but the critters on the other side of the truck are greater kudu. There are 3 female greater kudus. You can tell they're all female because they don't have any horns. They are the second tallest antelope in the forest, and one of my personal favorites. Alright, so just up ahead here, we've got some choices. We can head to the left, go deeper into the forest, but I don't think we'll see much, because it looks like the woods get pretty dense. We won't see much of anything. So, we can head to the right, go up to the Safi River, see what we can find up there as our next stop, and we'll keep on going. So while you guys are checking out that animal spotting guide above your head, and we're headed up this hill to the river, are there any animals that you are particularly excited to see today? Anything specific?
Squirrels!
Other than the squirrels. Let it go with the squirrels. It's like Doug. Goodness, is Doug on my trunk and I missed it? It's very possible. Alright, so other than the squirrels, how about hippos? Because there's a hippo on the right-hand side actually out of the water, which is pretty rare. You don't see that very often. Hippos can reach up to 3 tons when they're done growing. And they actually spend a good majority of their day completely underwater, which you should be able to see very well around the corner on the left-hand side. There's actually one of them swimming around right by the edge of the water here. But for most of a hippo's day, this is all they do, right about here. Unless they are threatened or looking for food, that's all you're going to see them do. They get sunburned really easily too, surprisingly enough, so this is their way of preventing sunburn. They'll spend all that time underwater. And a natural sunblock. Alright, so... Oh, goodness. The vultures are here. These are not residents of the reserve. They are native bird to our area, and they are protected, so there's nothing we can do about it. They like to come in and try to mooch food off the pelicans. You'll see that a lot. True story. All right, so this is a bridge that we're coming up on, obviously. Please stay in your seats, guys. Big giant trucks on old rickety bridges like this, who knows what can happen. So here we go. Keep your fingers crossed. We're almost there. Almost there. And woohoo, we made it. All right, let's get out of here. So we're gonna head on like those greater kudu we saw before. Probably see some cattle. And if we're very lucky, this up ahead is where we will see the giraffes as well. So get ready. Now, before we head down there, take a look on your right-hand side. The big tree you can see off to your right, just step back off the road a little bit, is a baobab tree. It's known as an upside-down tree because for about 9 months out of the year, it looks like it was planted upside down. It is completely leafless. What it will do during the rainy season, it will store as much water in its trunk as it possibly can. So when the drought comes, it has enough water to make it through the whole 9-month drought. The best way for it to stretch that water the entire 9 months is to just stop growing leaves. It has the ability to just stop whenever it wants. Now this right here is one of the best views you will get of the reserve. It's the Serengeti grassland. It stretched for hundreds of miles and worked kind of like a superhighway for millions of migrating animals every year, like the giraffe, so you can see right here in the middle. Now until we get around to the other side, well, you will have some fantastic views of those giraffes. We'll talk about the reserve just a little bit. Now, it was established back in 1971 to help us preserve a lot of these animals you see out here. Most of the animals on this reserve are either on the endangered species list or very close to it. So obviously that was goal number one. We wanted to help with the numbers for a lot of these animals. The second thing, or the second idea that we had, was we wanted to set up the boundaries of the reserve, let all these animals go, and then never really interfere much again. We wanted to be able to keep them as wild as possible with as little interaction with humans as possible as well. What that does is it keeps them acting consistently the way that they would out in the wild anywhere else. We do a lot of research with them on how they interact with each other, how they interact with their habitat. We let them have their own very specific effect on their habitat as they would, and their own preference of food as well. And when all that happens and it works just the way it's supposed to, it creates a balanced ecosystem, and all on its own there is enough food for everybody. So despite all the research that we do, we have created almost the perfect place for them to live, because we will never have to come out here and feed any of these animals. Just by them being here means there's enough food for everybody all on its own. Now these two you can see on either side of the truck now are Patterson's eland, and just around the corner we have, well, there are 9 subspecies of giraffe in the world. Here on the reserve there are 2 different subspecies. The first one you'll see is the reticulated giraffe. That's the one just right here by the tree. You can actually see both right next to each other. The other one next to her is the Maasai giraffe. Now take a look at the spots. That's the only difference between any subspecies of giraffe, is what the spots look like. The reticulated giraffe gets its name from a word in Latin which means net-like pattern. So very consistent brown from head to toe. Just kind of looks like there's a white net wrapped around her. That's where they get their name. The little baby over there on the left belongs to her. And the Maasai giraffe on the other side of the tree, you can see. You see the difference in the spots pretty easily, I assume. Yep. Much darker in the middle, kind of fades out to those really jagged edges, and the very light tan in the middle instead of the bright white like the reticulated giraffe has. Now for some fun trivia for you. What color is a giraffe's tongue? Anybody know? Anybody ever see it? Purple, yeah. Black or purple, either one. Giraffes spend about 20 hours a day sleeping. Eating. So, if a giraffe's tongue, or does anybody know why the giraffe's tongue is that color? Anybody ever think about it? Or hear about it? If they spend 20 hours a day trying to find food with their faces up in the trees, up in the sun, and their tongue were pink, what would happen? Exactly. So it's purple or brown or black, depending on the giraffe. So their tongue won't get sunburned. Another Maasai, just there on the right. There's a water buck over there by himself, across the road, and some Ankoli cattle way back up there in the bushes. Now I'm hoping there is a second baby giraffe. There's a second baby giraffe, and I'm hoping we'll find him just around this corner. I think I see him. There's another of each giraffe as well inside that ring of palm trees. And there's the little guy. He's the youngest one, the newest addition to the reserve, way in the back inside that ring of palm trees. He's about 2 months old. He's already almost 8 feet tall, though. They're born at 6 feet. see out here on the grasslands are the ones way up in the back. Those are sable antelope. For any of you that saw that sign before we were coming into the reserve, the one with the horns curved all the way backwards, looks like it's charging at something, that's them right there. Alright, so on to Monkey Point. We should find some monkeys just around this corner on the other side of this big giant rock on the left. And after that, we should be able to find some elephants as well. This is sort of where the elephants hang out. Now, first things first, Monkey Point gets its name from the troop of mandrills that lives in this area. Usually on the left. There's a few of them right there. There's also a dominant male in this troop as well. If you take a look at this one that you can see kind of in the grass, not the one up on the rock, double that. And that's about how big the dominant male is. And very brightly colored as well. Don't see him at the moment. You definitely know if you saw him. A few of them running around over on this side of the bush too. Now on the right hand side is where we can sometimes find the only male elephant that lives on the reserve. Male elephants are very territorial, so for the most part they will spend their whole lives by themselves. Anytime you see a big group of elephants together, they are all female, except for the babies. Don't see him at the moment, but we should pretty easily be able to find the family group just around this corner. Now, anytime, like I said, anytime you see a big group of elephants together, they're all female. The oldest female in any family is the matriarch. She's kind of the one that's in charge. She will help raise all the other baby elephants. They all kind of raise their babies together as a group. She will keep all of the female elephants together, and if any male elephants try to hang around for too long, they tend to run them off. Now there are two little baby elephants in the family group we'll see up ahead. The youngest one is a boy. He's just about 2 years old. And his big sister is just about 3. And the little guy will have about 13 more years with mom before she sends him off to find his own territory. Baby elephants have the second longest childhood in the animal kingdom next to people. They'll spend up to 15 years with their moms. Now if we can find them, you'll notice that brother and sister both have just a little bit of tusks starting to grow in. About 1 inch long. I should see them on the other side of that. On the other side. Big pile of rocks over there. They're hanging out over there. The tusks on an elephant actually present one of the biggest threats to them out in the wild. They are pretty heavily hunted for the ivory that their tusks are made out of. If we can find the babies or the matriarch like I was talking about, make sure we point them out. That's the matriarch right there, oldest female in the family. And one of the babies is walking around behind her. Little brother's over there by the water. No, I lied. That's big sister over by the water. This looks like little brother right here. Their color is just barely one lighter than the other. That one right there is probably about 6 years old. Kind of adolescent age for an elephant. I could spend my whole day down here watching the elephants play around, but they don't let us. I've tried. So we're going to keep going. And if you watch on your left, this is a group of greater flamingos. Well, this is the African greater flamingo, so they will always be this very pale pink color. Anybody know why is the flamingo pink? Yeah, that's what they eat. They eat so much shrimp it turns to pink. Perfect. They will never get any darker than this. They can eat all the shrimp in the world. It wouldn't matter. The much darker flamingo that a lot of people think of is more the Caribbean flamingo. And one more, much older female back there. She's very content to just hang out by herself. She's usually right in that area right there. Alright, now just through here is where we can usually find a much bigger cousin to the black rhino we saw before. And there they are. Mama and baby. Somebody's in the road right in front of that truck. Not sure what it is. It's either an ostrich, or a zebra, or a rhino. Alright, so if you take a look over there, there's mama and baby rhino. Now, they are white rhinos, and the white rhino was doing really well out in the wilds. Their numbers were starting to rebound to the point that we were actually calling them a success story for quite a few years. Problem with that is they are significantly bigger than the black rhino, about 5,000 pounds. So their horns grow much bigger. Poachers figured out how much more valuable their horn is on the black market, and they started going for them instead. Poachers are very sophisticated hunters, and unfortunately they're very well funded as well. So the white rhino's not doing quite so well in the wild anymore. Now if you can see, obviously the little guy has a much shorter horn than mom. But the rhino's horn continues to grow throughout the animal's entire life. It never stops growing. It's made out of the same thing your fingernails are made out of too. Oh, it's an ostrich. It's an ostrich right in front of her. He's about 5,200 pounds, somewhere in there. Oh good, the ostrich moved. A group of rhinos is called a crash, by the way. It makes perfect sense. He is the newest member of the crash, and you see mama and baby right there. They're watching every move he makes. Mama's a little skittish around him. Oh, the ostrich is gonna walk right back out in front of her, isn't he? Yep. There she goes. Awesome. Well, if she's not in front of her, she's gonna be in front of me. So, cool. I think she's just gonna cross the road and go right back. It's fine, but
Why did not cross the road?
it's like a bad joke. Oh, yeah. See what I mean? She does not like him that close to baby.
And he's backing up?
Oh yeah.
Whatever is his thing?
The best part is the baby is starting to join in on it now. Like he's getting so much more like, yeah, and what's gonna happen the day mama's like, no, you're on your own. I would love to see that. There's another white rhino back there. They probably hear the commotion, so they're probably, yeah, here they come. Oh no, that's the big guy. Take it back. See him coming around the corner? Huge. Compared to, all the males are much bigger, obviously, than the females, but okay, well, that was eventful. So, on your left-hand side, you should see the fastest land animal in the world. What is it? Cheetah. See him right at the base of that tree up there?
Oh yeah.
There's two of them. There's one lying that way and another one lying the other way. Now, the cheetah can run about 70 miles an hour. And they are the only big cat without retractable claws. It kind of works like chains on a snow tire when you're trying to get traction. The claws help them get traction to go catch their food.
Like rhinos?
What?
Like rhinos?
No. Cheetahs won't go after rhinos. They're way too big. Cheetahs like impalas. Even the sable antelope is a little big for them. Now, on the other hand, the lion we can usually find right up here, while the cheetah mostly hunts at night or during the day because of its speed. The lion hunts mostly at night because it will rely on its sense of smell. Only problem with that is because it hunts at night, it'll spend about 22 hours of its day asleep. Sometimes pretty tricky to find. So I'm sure they're in there somewhere, which is probably why the zebras are so close to where the lions hang out. Some very brave zebras we have in this area. Alright, so what color is a zebra? Black with white or white with black? Everybody know? It's a 50-50 shot. If you look at their nose, what color is their nose? Black. Their skin is black from head to toe. The white stripes grow in. Their skin is actually not white underneath the fur or the hair. A couple more black rhino and some bontabak over there on the right hand side as well. I am really hoping the lions are out, or at least visible. But they have probably found a spot in the shade and are not going to move until the sun goes down. Most times we come through here and all you see is just a paw on a rock, so it's very likely that is today. All right. A pair of warthogs on the left-hand side over there by that tree. And I will bet you the ostrich that we met a little while ago is the ostrich that belongs to these eggs here on the ground on the left. God bless you. There is another ostrich up ahead on the right-hand side, but that's the dominant one in the group. You can tell by that very typical black and white coloring it has. Now, if you look, and while they're standing up is a great time to do it, if you take a look at their wings are far too short for the size of that body. There is no way those wings could get that animal up off the ground. The ostrich is able to run about 35 miles an hour, but it is completely incapable of flying. It's probably for the better. I think it'd be terrifying if an ostrich could fly, but... Just saying. Alright, so we're going to head over this bridge, and this is the last part of the reserve. We added this land on pretty recently to help us expand our size a little bit, and the first animals that came out here kind of took it over is an animal called the addax, and you can see him just up ahead at the top of the hill. Now, the addax is a desert species. A couple really cool things about them. First of all, because they are a desert species, they are white. It's not a very typical color you would see on an animal in Africa, but the white is a much better camouflage for the sand than pretty much any other color would be. They all but disappear in the sand. The second really cool thing about them is they can survive their entire lives without ever having a sip of water. They are so well adapted to where they live that as long as they can find food, their body has learned how to pull the hydration it needs from the food rather than actually needing to drink water, and they're perfectly fine. If they have it available like they do here, they'll drink it, but they definitely don't need it. Alright, now we are going to come through this gate right here, and this is the end of our trip. I hope you guys had a great time. Thank you very much for coming. Come back and see us again. You'll never get bored if you come back, trust me. No two safaris are ever the same, which the rhinos and the ostrich have pretty much proved that for you today. I haven't seen the rhinos do that in a while, so that was cool. Alright, well, if you want to see any other animals before you leave, check out just outside the Warden's Post, where I will drop you off. On your right-hand side, there's a spot you can step off the path and see some gorillas up on the hill. And if you don't see them there, if the sun is on the hill a little bit, head over to the Pangani Forest Trail. That habitat for the gorillas expands all the way out to that trail, so you should get a great look at them out there. There's also the underwater viewing area for the hippos back there, and some meerkats as well, so lots to see. And we're gonna head up to the second warden's post just up that way where I'll drop you off.